Hello, my name is Natasha Edmond. I am Ariana's mother. I'm also a teacher. I've been in education for 12 years, born and raised in Houston, Texas.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you some questions. The first one is, where are your ancestors from?
Well, as far as I know, we have come from like Oklahoma, East Texas, West Texas, all the way into Houston. I'm sure it goes beyond that, but as far as I can recall from having conversations with my grandparents, that's as far as it goes.
Okay, how would you define our culture?
Our culture is kind of a mixture of a lot of different worlds. I do know that we have African American culture, of course, and then we also have the Native American culture that is heavily entwined in uh, our close relatives. So the culture, I guess I can describe it as very close, tight knit, family oriented. Um, we do have the Native Americans have been known to be mean or aggressive, and so we do have traces of that in our bloodline. Um, yeah, Ariana's pointing at herself. She's getting drips of it too. So that's pretty much how I would define our culture. Very tight knit, family oriented. We're very supportive, strong women in our bloodline, as well as hardworking men. So.
Okay, what are some of our cultural traditions or family practices? Such as like clothes, language, food.
Well, as far as clothing and language, of course, we're here in America, so we're kind of, with the general population as far as that's concerned. But as far as our foods, we're very ethnic, meaning it's a lot of seasoning, soul food. We always have a dessert with whatever we eat. And what was the other thing you said?
Cultural traditions.
Traditions. So another thing that we were really big on was like family dinners. Um, Everybody getting together on a Sunday after church and kind of sitting around the table and just talking and laughing and joking. That's that family oriented part of us where we like to get together and just have a good time. So that's one of the traditions that we do.
If where were you raised, and just where were you raised?
I was born right here in Houston, Texas, on the north side, and so were my parents. Both actually grew up down the street from each other. So Houston, Texas is where I'm from.
And where was I raised?
Ariana was born in Houston, Texas as well. We've been on the north side all of her life as well.
How was your childhood similar to mine?
We both grew up in structured households. Well, respect was a big thing. Being good kids, good grades was the standard. You know, building strong character at home where discipline was in place. That's a lot of things that I find similar.
How was your childhood different from mine?
Well, the obvious difference is I was raised in a household with both my parents. My parents are still married to this day. It's been over 40 years that they've been together. And not the same situation with you guys. So I would say that would be the biggest difference. The two parent household, and along with that comes with the two incomes and time and availability and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, which cultural practices do you think are most important for me to keep?
Well, one thing that I forgot to mention when we were talking about the similarities in our childhoods was the Christian upbringing. Um, my parents were both children of preachers, and so I grew up in church. They grew up in church. I grew up in church, and I'm instilling that same thing with you guys. So I would say one of the traditions that I hope and I pray that you keep is your belief and your love for God and your service to the church.
Okay, what's one of the most important lessons you've learned from your parents?
Most important lessons I've learned from my parents. There are quite a few. But I guess the most important would be you reap what you sow. And if I can explain what that means, whatever seed you put in the ground is the fruit you'll bear. Meaning, if you pull out negative energy, you can expect that back. That's something that has kind of guided a lot of my decisions and kept me in line as far as character is concerned.
Okay, why do you think it was important to have been taught that?
Because you have to have compassion for the next person if you expect people to treat you the same way. You cannot mistreat people and expect people to treat you good. So that's a life lesson. I think that children, adults, anybody, people of all ages can benefit from.
Okay, now, what were some, in your early teenage years, what were some of the trends in fashion and what were the cars like?
Trends and fashions. Okay, so there was this group called Criss Cross, right? Two boys that were rappers. Both of their names were Chris, but they used to wear their clothes backwards. Like their pants. Don't look at me like that. They were really cute, and everybody had a crush on them, and so we would wear our clothes backwards too. That was the thing. That was one of the trends. Another thing that was a trend, there was a clothing line called Cross Colors. And so the clothing, they were really patchy, like bright colors, but one side of the shirt would be red, the other side would be green. And so it don't laugh, but your mother, because I was so fashion trendy, I wanted all colorful socks too.
Oh my gosh.
So I would have on my cross colors, outfit, but I would have about 6 pair of socks on.
Oh my gosh.
Not 6, 3 pairs, sorry. So I'd have 3 different colors on one foot and the other 3 on the other foot, and they were like stacked up almost to my knees. But that was what was hot. I had to find a picture and show you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, when you were my age, were you afraid of anything?
I was, and still slightly afraid of rejection. I never wanted to feel embarrassed or not good enough. So to avoid that feeling, I would never step out of my comfort zone and do anything different, because that was their risk. Like, oh, what if they don't like me? Or what if they think I'm stupid? So I'm just not going to do it. So I think I missed a lot of opportunities at things that I probably could have been good at because of that fear.
Okay, what is purpose and what does it look like to you?
Purpose to me is the reason you're created. I believe that everybody that's placed here has a specific job or duty that they're supposed to accomplish before we die. And so purpose to me is being aligned with whatever God has designed for you to do, and you living it out.
Okay, well, what is compassion and what does compassion look like to you?
Compassion to me is a feeling or an emotion.
Technical difficulties.
That you have for the next person. So if you're compassionate towards someone, that means that you really genuinely have a concern for their well-being. Same thing if you have compassion for an animal. You're concerned about their well-being. It's genuine. It's not a front. It's something that you really, truly are concerned about.
Okay, well, that is all we have for today.
Well, thank you for having me on. I enjoyed my interview.
No problem.
Yeah.